Hello, and welcome to our Drive to Thrive webinar series. My name is Carrie Sawyer, and this is my lovely co-host, Kyle. I am the founder of Diversity by Design. We use design thinking to cultivate inclusive environments where people love to work.
Awesome. And like Carrie said, my name is Kyle Moss. I am a purveyor of joy, and I'm the founder of Experts Together. Yes, you heard me right, folks. Purveyor of joy. And now if you're watching this, your own personal purveyor of joy. So in any case, I am also, like I said, the founder of Experts Together. We are a life coaching and consulting practice that helps everyone step into a more clear picture of who they are and who they want to become. So we are here, like Carrie said, for the Drive to Thrive webinar series. Are you excited already? Do you have questions about what it is? I'm sure you do. Ultimately, this series is created by Carrie and I to provide encouragement and practical tools for businesses and business owners. We're thinking that with the right mindset right now that we can focus through our fears, and we wanted to help you work alongside of us as business owners to identify and develop new strategies that are going to help us thrive now amidst the new norm and later as we continue to develop and figure out what that new normal entails. So this is a webinar series that's going to talk about all of those questions. But Carrie, can you tell us, like, why are we doing this?
So the reason why we're doing this is basically because your business is making the world a better place and it needs to keep happening. And so we've created this series, like Kyle said, to provide that encouragement, to provide those tools so that we can basically launch ourselves at this time into what that new normal is going to be. And so today we're going to be talking a lot about the new normal, about what's happening, but mostly how to push through it and to find our voices, to find our strength, and to find new business opportunities as well. And so this is really for that, like Kyle said, that small and emerging business owner who wants to make a digital pivot, because really everything is going online right now, and not just digital pivots, but any opportunity that we can find to pivot in our business right now to continue to serve our clients and serve our customers and help them through this time as well.
Awesome. So do we want to talk a little bit, Carrie, about what's coming up or what this is going to kind of look like over the next month?
Yeah, that's a great idea, Kyle. This is going to be a monthly webinar series, and we're going to be producing something every week for you. And we're going to be bringing in different experts who have the insights and who have the tools that we need to help take our business to the next level, while also being really real about what's going on and how to develop that mindset that we need to push forward and to keep ourselves in a good place, to keep innovating and to keep thriving.
Awesome. And I am so excited to be alongside of Carrie. She's incredible. I think the both of us bring some very interesting and different backgrounds to the table, but we also have an awesome network that we wanted to tap into to help not only ourselves, but to help you, like we said, just kind of get some more tools in our tool belts on how to move forward. And so without further ado, I want to introduce our first and amazing guest. Tina Medina, who is the founder and lead visionary of the Vibe movement. Hi, Tina.
Hi.
We're pumped to have you. Do you want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself before we jump into our questions?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Tina Medina. It's like the best name you could ever say.
That's awesome.
You get to call me Tina Medina. And I'm the founder and lead visionary of the Vibe movement, which is a support system for educators to help them reconnect to their purpose. And so I do consulting and coaching with educators one-on-one, and then I do training and facilitation with school sites. And it's really about connecting deeply with your students. It's about connecting deeply with yourself, with your colleagues, and building deeper, meaningful relationships so that everybody can thrive.
That's beautiful. And Tina, I love the part in your title that is lead visionary. Can you just say a little bit more about what that means? Because I think it's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, especially as business owners, whether you're just launching or you're, redoing, or you're in this time and you're thinking about how to repivot, like how to pivot in this time that is just so interesting for all of us. having a vision is step one. Like you you can't get anywhere where you really want to be with your business unless you have a really clear vision. And so that's something that naturally, like I've been really good at my whole life, is just having a really clear vision and then thinking about the steps that need to follow in order to live into that vision. So creating a clear action plan. It's all part and parcel with vision casting.
I love
I
it.
love that vision casting, and what an important thing right now for all of us, whether we are small business owners, solopreneurs, mompreneurs, whatever you are in business. I think vision casting now more than ever, and Tina, I know you're going to talk about this, but it is one of the most powerful things. We can all take the time to figure out what it is, like what vision we want to cast for ourselves. So this is really why we wanted to also kick off this webinar series with Tina, because before you jump into the hows and the whats and like the business aspect of all of it, we want to get our minds right, right?
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure we are all like healthily and holistically approaching what we're doing in the best of ways. So we thought no better way would we start or kick off this series than mindset and vision casting, which, oh, I just love the words. They're getting me all excited.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Cool. All
All
right.
right.
Let's kick off
So
these
shall we
questions.
All right. So the conversation that we're going to have now is really all about how to move from fear and worry into that growth mindset, that business development, innovation, creativity. And so we're really going to start off like right where we are. And Tina, our first question for you is really, what does the brain do during times of fear and uncertainty, and how does that impact business as usual?
Well, first, like, I don't want to pretend like I'm any kind of neuroscientist. I am fascinated by it, and so I would definitely recommend checking in with Dr. Joe Dispenza, who has done a ton of research around this, and he can talk to you about like all the neuroplasticity and how to reframe your brain, which is fascinating stuff. But when we are if you think about a deer, right, who's out in the wild just nibbling their little things, just hanging out, and then all of a sudden they sense a predator nearby, they freeze, right? And that's a response. But as soon as they have a sense that they're everything's fine and back to normal, they've let it go. But us as humans, like, we don't let it go. We hold on to it. And when you hold on to it, it can really be detrimental to your health, not like your emotional health, your mental health, your physical health. I mean, it starts to show up, and right now it's like you talk to somebody who's like, oh, I have a, sniffly nose. It's like all of a sudden, in an hour, you're like, oh no, I have a sniffly nose. It's fear is catching, right? And that worry is catching. It's infectious, right? And so right now it's critical that we are doing the things to help us get grounded, to help us not hold on to that fear, so that we can keep moving forward in a really productive and healthy and safe way, not just for ourselves but for our families and the communities that we serve. It's critical. It's mission critical that we stay in that place.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And I think that we've all like started to feel that little tickle in our throat just because we heard someone else, or it's just in the air, right? What do you think, like, how do we actually interrupt that spiral? And it's not just the spiral of like what's happening in our mind, but it's the spiral of bad news that's around us. Whether it's text messages from our family, being on Facebook too often, watching CNN, because we do want to know what's happening and we do want to know what we can do to keep us and our families safe. So how do we interrupt this spiral of negativity and bad news and replace it with maybe a more positive outlook?
Yeah, I would say great question. And I would say the very first thing is to be aware. Like this, like, I can feel it in my body. The second, like I had a conversation with somebody yesterday who's a bit of a doomsdayer, right? So like everything's wrong and everything's terrible. And I could feel in my body things were shifting. I could feel the energy changing in my body. So first and foremost, like, be aware, be in tune, like stay in tune and stay connected to your body, because your body is giving you signals all the time. So don't disregard that. And then I would say the very next thing you get to do is choose how you're going to respond in that moment, right? Like, are you going to fall into that doomsday energy, or are you going to turn it around? You always have a choice. And so, sometimes politely, maybe that means, smile and nod and say goodbye, you know, like I'll talk to you later, right? Because you can remove yourself from that space so that you can go catch your breath, right? Before you found yourself like falling into the doomsday pit, you know? And then the other thing I would really say too is um, to get really grounded in whatever those things are that help you stay in that more positive perspective, right? So if there's people who are really inspiring for you and they're posting videos, like go watch that. Or, you know, for me, like my spiritual practice, my meditation practice is critical. It's not just something I do for my own mental wellness. It is something that I do. It's actually a really important piece of my business strategy. You know, like I meditate every single day, not to just connect with myself and to connect with my loved ones, to connect with my higher power, but I do it to connect with my business. So whatever it is for you that really helps get you grounded, do it and double time it, right? Like make it a non-negotiable. Don't give up. Like don't make an excuse that, oh, today I can just sleep in. Like, no, get your butt up and go for that walk, or, you know, like whatever it is that really helps you grounded, prioritize it, make sure it happens.
Kyle, what are you doing to stay grounded with you and your family?
It's a great question. And we were talking about it earlier, all three of us, was just how fascinating a time it is that a lot of us actually have the extra time we're always desiring. So like Tina said, I encourage everyone to really choose the practices and disciplines that you always act like you want to incorporate, but don't have the time. Like, this is the time. And I love what Tina said too, is like, it's not the time just for you personally. It's the time for you and wherever you show up. Like, it's the time for you to take advantage of making you the best you, because that's going to make your business the best. That's going to make your family the strongest. That's going to make your relationships the best. So yeah, with our family, it's been an adventure every day, as is life every day in the Moss household. But we, like many other parents, are now homeschooling all of a sudden. So we are having to find the energy and the motivation to, like Tina said, not sleep in, but to stay on a schedule. I do really silly things to help my family. Like, I made my kids still get in their school uniforms and like we're going to school. I actually packed them snacks in their backpacks, and they were kind of like, what's happening? We're not going anywhere. We're just pretending as if. But I do that because it just helps me to continue instilling the good and strong foundational disciplines in our days that help lead to the best patterns, that lead to the best us. I don't know if that makes sense, but again, it's just making sure that we maintain a sense of, hey, we've got opportunity and possibility, but I also need the foundational things to be happening at the same time. So add the silliness, the creativity, still have fun, but make sure you're like either keeping or instilling good, sound disciplines that are setting the foundation for the future as well. So that's what's been helpful in our household. What about you, Carrie?
Yeah, no, I love what you both said, for sure. And for me, it's definitely been doubling down on my meditation time, making sure that I'm getting outside, because there's just something weird where, you know, like shelter in place. Okay, I can't leave the couch. Like, that's not actually true. Yesterday, I only went outside one time. I'm like, ooh, no, I need to make sure that I'm going for a walk, like scheduling those things. So everything's online now. I was going to do a yoga class, which I could do at any time. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it at 7. And so I actually stopped what I was doing at like 6:50, put on my yoga clothes, and did the class at 7. And so I think that Kyle speaks to the whole nature of the routine and how that really helps us to, especially when times are uncertain, to have that normalcy and have that structure that we need to kind of keep ourselves and our well-being and the well-being of our family at the center of what we're thinking and what we're doing.
100%.
Absolutely. So here's another question for you, Tina. So we kind of talked a little bit, and we're talking a little bit about how to kind of routinize and keep those things on path personally and professionally. But what are the opportunities, and how are you encouraging yourself as a business owner and other businesses now to kind of seek out the new possibilities, to identify them, even though we're in uncertain times? And then a sub question to that is, how do we motivate ourselves to continue taking action on those possibilities?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I love this question because I'm naturally like a positive thinker. And like, you always, again, back to what I was saying earlier, like you have a choice, like this could either be your doomsday situation, or this could be flooded, or like you say, Kyle, pregnant with possibilities, you know. There, for me, like I have been really soaking and basking in the blessings that have come in through this quote unquote crisis. Like this is, I have been asking for an opportunity to like encouragement, right? Like my goal for 2020 was to really become more present online, to be more consistent, to show up regularly, like to get over my fear of really speaking my truth. And like, you know, like
Here we are.
like under horrible circumstances, but not, but also really amazing too. Like I have no choice now. There's no more excuses. I can't hide anymore. This is my time to shine. And so every day I'm looking at like, well, what are the possibilities in today? Okay, so if we have this problem, there's at least 3 solutions to it. So which one do I want to pick, right? And where do I want to start, right? So you can either really think in terms of narrow terms, or you can just know and really feel that the sky is not even the limit. It's like beyond the sky, you know, like there is no limit, you know? And so it's really just, it's just being open. Like you have to just be open to possibility, open to, you know, new experiences, open to shifting, open to, you know, having conversations that you wouldn't normally have had, reaching out to people again, like we just said, like they're like, you never had time before. Well, now you have an abundance of time. So like, who is it that you've always wanted to have a conversation with? You know, think about people who really inspire you, call them up, have a conversation, talk to them about what you're thinking and get some feedback, especially people that you really admire, people that you're watching, you know, you're watching them launch into things that like you want to know their story. How did they do it? Like wherever you're at, whether you're pivoting or you're starting something from scratch, like the most important thing is like talk to people. Have conversations, get their input, like listen to them. That was the first piece. And then there was the second part to that question, right? What was it?
Yeah, how to take action, like how to make sure that you're not maybe stuck behind any fears or limiting beliefs, but how to actually make sure you're taking action in the things that you see as possibilities.
Yeah, so right now, like I'm doing a lot of vision casting with my clients in terms of like the next 3 to 6 months, right? And so it's, if you think about where you want to be in 3 to 6 months from now, think about what that would look like. Think about what you want to be doing, and then reverse engineer it. So think backwards. Okay, so if this is where I want to be, and this is the kind of life I want to be living, and this is what I want it to look like in 3 to 6 months from now. Okay, so I have that vision. What's it going to take for me to get there? You know, and then just keep it simple. Like I think that especially for me as an entrepreneur and an educator and a recovering perfectionist and a recovering overthinker, I'm a Pisces on top of it, so I go with the flow, you know, like these things don't normally go together very well. So like keep it simple, you know, focus on one thing at a time. Like that is that is like the recipe for success. Stick to one thing at a time. What is the one thing you can do today to move the needle forward? What is the one thing that you can master before you move on to the next? Focus on one thing at a time. And that will lead you where you really want to go, you know, and just take baby steps and celebrate those micro wins. We don't celebrate our wins enough, right? Like it's so easy to focus on where we're missing the mark, and it's so overlooked and undervalued to appreciate our wins along the way. So if you're feeling stuck, like what's something that you can celebrate today? Like what are you proud of? And if you're not proud of anything, well then get up and do something so that you can
I love that. I say start with making your bed too, right? I'm like, if nothing else happens today, make your bed and celebrate that, because that's the first thing you've done. And if it's the only thing, that's okay for one day. That's okay. I love that. And I think another thing that you're kind of saying, and the way that I typically tell people, is clarity follows action. Right? Like you might not be clear on the vision and how you're going to get there, but when you reverse engineer it and you're like, okay, but I just have to take this one step. And it's like, oh, and now I'm a little bit more clear on what comes next. I'm a little bit more clear when I take the next step, the baby step. So I think that's awesome advice, Tina. Thank you so much.
The last thing I would just say to that is just like really think about your way of being versus your way, like what you're doing.
Yeah.
And kind of like what you're saying, like the clarity follows action. It's like the doing will come when you decide how you want to be. So
yes.
Vision casting out 3 to 6 months. Okay, so if we're kind of looking at this COVID thing, and it's, you know, maybe 3 to 6. Okay, I mean probably more like 6 months from now when we'll be sort of stepping out into whatever that new normal is. Like, who do you want to be at that point?
Yeah.
You know, and then practice being that now. That's the doing, right? Is practicing the being.
Tina, I'm like, oh my goodness. I like have written on my my board where it was calendar, but now it's like everything has been erased from that calendar, which is wonderful. But I have who before do, right? Like who before do. Put your who before do, because you're exactly right. Like, who do you want to be? Like, start being that now in your relationships at home, right? It starts at home, which is sometimes the most difficult relationships, but it's all going to transfer into your business and into your success, into our new norm. So I love that. And also, Tina, I'm a Pisces and a recovering perfectionist, and that's why we get along so well. I didn't realize.
It's a curse.
That's awesome.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a blessing and a curse.
A blessing and a curse, for sure.
I'm also a recovering perfectionist, although I'm a Capricorn. But I love the baby step idea because it really is about doing whatever you can from where you are. Like, you don't have to have this extra thing or learn this other thing over there or talk to that person before you can start. Like, where am I right now and what is it that I want to do? I mean, even with putting forward this, you know, webinar series that we're doing, like, what can we do right now? Well, we can do this. And so we started taking those baby steps forward to do just that. So I just really like making it's just so accessible when you just start here, and I don't have to go here. I can go just right here now, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of trust involved, you know, and for me, it's a lot of trusting the universe, trusting my higher power to guide me where I'm meant to be, where I'm meant to serve. And, you know, the other thing, oh gosh, what was I going to say? I'll come back to it. It'll come back, but really it's so much about trust, you know? You know, I didn't remember what I was going to say. When I was trying to transition, when I first started thinking about transitioning out of teaching in the classroom into like whatever my business was going to be, I knew that I wasn't happy what I was doing. And so, but I didn't know what was next for me. And so whether you're like, wherever you're at with your own business journey right now, just know that this totally relates. And so I started really focusing on, since I didn't really know what I wanted to do or what the business was going to be, I started really focusing on how I wanted to feel. Like, how do I want to feel every single day when I woke up? How do I want to feel as I move through the day? And for me, it really came down to freedom and flexibility. And so I just kept focusing on those feelings. Okay, so, you know, what am I doing right now today to bring in something that like it will help me feel flexible and free? And I just focused on that. I just kept focusing on that. And naturally, you know, step by step, it took me to where I am today.
That's good. I love that. I love that. I mean, we do that so little in the workplace. So I think it's a really good reminder that you now have permission, right? Like, we're all like giving you any permission that you needed to focus on how you want to feel when you show up at work and make the workplace and make your business reflect that.
Totally.
That's awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Tina. This was incredible.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So great. We really appreciate your time and your insights. Like, this has been a really great conversation, and we can't wait to just put some of it into practice. I wrote down like vision casting, like how do I want to feel, micro win. Celebrating the micro win is so important. I'm going to have a lot of those now that I know that term, so I'm excited for that end of day reflection. Kyle, what were some takeaways for you?
Well, I love the end. I think just encouraging business owners to develop and curate the environment where they want to feel good and bringing that with them everywhere. So I think that's such a great takeaway. And I just hope that everyone watching this can take a little bit of that and, like we said, kind of practice the who you want to be and how you want to show up rather than the doing, because that will come in baby steps. So those are my takeaways that I really appreciated.
I love it. Tina, tell us where we can find more of you and your vision work and Vibe movement.
Yeah, so the easiest place is just to go to the website. It's vibemovement.com, not complicated, vibemovement.com. And then from there, you can find all my different social channels. And then I did recently launch a Facebook group specifically for educators. And so I know a lot of you may not be educators, but everybody knows somebody who's an educator. And so if you know somebody who's really kind of struggling with, how to transition into online teaching, especially if you have kids who are transitioning to online learning, and then how do you manage all of those things? It's really meant to be like a co-op, right? Like a community of support and connection as we try to really figure all of this out. So that you can get to that through my Facebook, my business Facebook page will connect you to the Facebook group. And I would love to have all of you join and spread the word. Everybody knows an educator, so encourage them to come get the support that they need through this very strange time that we're living in. So, and I look forward to connecting with all of you. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thanks, Tina. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Yeah.
We appreciate
Bye.
it.
Okay, well, Carrie, this was awesome. Thanks for having a great conversation.
Yes, this has been super fun. I want to thank you, Kyle, for being my co-host and being co-host with us today. And I want to also thank everyone for tuning in to the first of our webinar series, really around Drive to Thrive. How do we thrive during this time of uncertainty? And we would love for you to join our mailing list. All the information on joining is included with this message and in the links below. And Kyle, why don't you give us a little preview about what our next topic is going to be?
Yeah. So like Carrie said, this is going to be a month-long, we think at this point, series. So we'll be back in action on Wednesday. And we are going to be talking to some online digital marketing agencies all about how businesses can define their messaging, marketing, and social media. Oh my. So we'll get some tips on how to either define or make more clear, clarify, or even develop a messaging and social media plan.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear this because we are all building our online audiences right now and getting the message out, whatever that is, whatever your unique business is more important now than ever as we get set up to thrive, not just now, but in our new normal that's coming up as well. So, all right, Kyle, anything else you want to leave our listeners with?
I don't think so. I think that's it. I think we should continue saying the title over and over. Drive to Thrive. Drive to Thrive.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.